Good morning, guys. Thanks for coming back. You guys have met our Rottweilers that are a new addition to Hidden Valley Homestead, and they are stubborn dogs. And so we are going to install a perimeter fence with the shock collar, and we're going to show you guys how to do it, show you which one we used. Thanks to our subscriber, Rot Dog, who was kind enough to let us have these perimeter kits, and we're going to put these things to work. So check it out. Welcome to Hidden Valley Homestead, where my wife Olivia and I escaped the city to homestead our off-grid property in Idaho. This is our journey. This is the kit, Stubborn Dog In-Ground Fence. It is put out by PetSafe. We're going to leave the link down there in the bottom. You guys can check this out. It's a really good kit, and you can do all kinds of perimeters, up to 25 acres, double loops, a perimeter loop, whatnot. It gives you full instructions on how to install it and how to place the collar on your pet and then train the pet. It says 2 weeks. I'm hoping a lot sooner than that. This tells you how it works. It's a radio signal that travels through the buried wire, and the dog wears a receiver collar that detects the signal at the boundary. It includes a transmitter, a receiver, surge protector, manual, a battery, 500 feet of wire, and training flags. Also has a test light tool and comes with a 1-year warranty. You can also add pets to it, and it gives you how much wire you're going to need depending on how many acres you've got. We're not going to do all 5 of our acres, but we're going to do a couple of acres here, so we're going to need about 1,500 feet of wire. Pretty cool, guys. All right, honey, here we go. Let's install this thing. What do you think? Think this is going to work?
I sure hope so.
All right. We want to be able to have Olivia walking around outside by herself with her dogs at her side. Okay, so this wire sends out a signal, and you can increase the field strength of this signal coming from the wire anywhere from 6 to 12 feet from the wire. So that's going to be the zone. I'll show you guys a picture of that in a second. So this is what we're doing. When you want to not have a signal, you have to twist 2 wires together. It's a single strand that goes all the way around the perimeter of your place, and then where you don't want a signal to come out of the wire, you have to twist 2 wires together. I'm going to show you that here right now. Check this out. We're going to bury the wire across the road, and we're going to go into the house. It's going to go up into the house and then into the garage, and that's where the controller is going to be, is up in there. But we want to be able to turn this thing on before we come outside. So we're going to bury the wire, and we're doing a single strand right here, and then this is where we're starting the loop. We're starting the loop at the house right here, and then we're going to take this across the road. Now we're not burying it yet because we have to come back and finish the loop and twist the wires together all the way up. If I did not twist the wires, it's going to be up here in the trees. We're going to twist the wires from that spot. If we didn't twist the wires, then this single wire would effectively put a barrier. It would emit a signal, and the dogs would not want to cross this wire right here. So when we come up, we're going to go and do our loop around the property, and when we come back around from this side, we're going to join the wire up in here, and from there, we're going to twist the 2 wires together, and I'll show you guys how to do that. So this is where we're starting. So we're going to let this wire sit on suspended above the ground about a foot. You don't have to bury the wire. You can actually attach it to a fence, to the top of a fence, the middle of a fence, or you can bury it. We don't have any fencing here, and I don't want to dig 2,000 feet of trench. So we're going to go all the way up here. And then right here, we zip tied it to this tree, and then from there we take it across, and we have a pathway where we're going to be driving our side by side. And so we entered the ground and we buried it 3 inches across. That way we can drive our Ranger across there and not snag the wire. Came back up out of the ground, go to the next tree, tree to tree to tree to tree, and so on. So guys, keep in mind that 6 to 12 feet from the wire is how strong the signal is, depending on how much you set it. So if we have this thing too high off the ground, it's only going to go 6 to 12 feet. So you don't want to have it too high off the ground because you don't want them to go under the wire. That's about 1.5 feet off the ground right here. And then remember, again, 6 to 12 feet. So they're going to stop about right here if I have it set at 6. If it's 12, they're gonna get a tone right here. It starts with a tone, and then they get closer. When they get closer to the wire, the tone turns into an uncomfortable correction. So going through the trees, we want the dogs to be able to come to this edge right here, but not go over the edge. That's why we're taking the wire just past the edge. We limbed up some of the trees a little bit so we could zip tie and put a hook in the bottom of that tree right there. So the kit also comes with little white flags, and those are visual cues for the dog as well as for the owners, for the humans, that there is a wire there. If you for some reason can't see that yellow fluorescent wire, you'll see the little white flags. It's a pretty neat kit. My lovely assistant is showing us how to tuck the wire into a little trench. It only has to be wide enough for the wire.
I'm holding the wire down here, and then I'm pounding the dirt in onto the wire to kind of bury it good, and then I will add the dirt and fill it in to cover the area. And here's my white flag.
That way you know
Here,
where it came
that
in.
tells me, yeah.
And this way we can walk down. We have a little pathway to the bridge across the creek. Our whole idea of using zip ties right now is that this is going to be somewhat permanent but somewhat temporary. If we want to come back and bury the wire at a later time, because all we got to simply do is cut the zip tie, dig a trench and bury the wire, and then you're completely underground. Let's show you guys how to splice the wire now. I'm gonna go get the second 500-foot roll.
Here's where we buried the wire, and then I put the flags just so we know that there's wire there when I mow the weeds or the grass, whatever it may be. It's weeds right now. But anyway, excited to see how this is going to work, and excited that the dogs won't take off or run. So it'll make me feel better and they can enjoy being outside.
So PetSafe will give you an extension kit. It comes with wire, more flags, and a splice kit. Let me show you what's in here. There's extra flag. Here is a splice kit with 2 waterproof containers and 500 more feet of wire. What they want you to do is they want you to strip off 1/2 inch or so of wire, and they give you the supplied wire nuts with the waterproof container. Twist these together. Put this together. Now don't over tighten it or you'll break the wires. There you go. Make sure that, give it a little tug, make sure it's on there firm. And then open up the waterproof container. There's a gel in there which will help waterproof it. We're gonna stick that bad boy in there. See the gel squeezing out. Stick it all the way down in there. Make sure that gel completely covers the wires. Put one wire to one side, the other one to the other side. Close it. You have a waterproof connection. Now we're going to bury this. So this is where they want you to put this wire into a piece of conduit. Us driving our trucks over in this a bunch of times with the rock, it'll eventually wear into that cable and cut it. It says right on there, Schedule 40. And it's a thicker conduit. That way it goes underneath the road, and the weight of the vehicle isn't going to crush this when I bury it. Make sure I have a little bit of slack come out of the ground before I bury it. I'll clean this up, rake it out in a second. We're going to splice it right here. We're going to bury it in the hole right there. So I'm going to splice right here. I'm going to come back above ground, tie it off to the corner stake right here. And then over here, you can see my laydown yard for my skid steer implements. And I drive my trailer in and out of here, so I need to do a trench. My plan is to go across to that tree right there. So I need to do a trench right across here. Well, so I don't have to do another splice, I'm going to put this piece on the wire now before I splice it. Then I don't have to do another splice over here. The least amount of splices that you have is just that better of a chance that you won't have a bad connection sometime down the road. And that's why I love North Idaho, because well, a couple of hours ago, for you it was just a second ago, it was pouring rain as we were installing this thing, but the storm passed through and look, it's a beautiful sunny day. All right, back to this, what do you call this?
PetSafe.
PetSafe Perimeter Guard. We took a nap. I'm a little sleepy. But really, it's only been a couple hours. It's pretty funny. Love this place. Look at this beautiful sun. Don't you just love that? Yeah. All right. Back to the job. Okay, so now we are going to, we completed our loop, and well, let me flip the camera around. Okay, so we've got the one loop that we started with. Here's the other wire. We're gonna take these two and we're gonna join them together and we're gonna spin them, wrap them around each other. That way there is no signal coming from these wires all the way up to where the loop begins up in the trees up there. Okay, so check this out. Here's a cool little trick. So I'm gonna stick the ends of these in the drill right here, and I'm gonna stick them in as far as they'll go, and I'm gonna tighten down the drill on them. Okay, we're gonna use this drill to spin these wires. All right. Oh my gosh, look how perfect that's working.
It was not twisting past this tree because it was touching the tree, but I came up here and pulled it away, and now it's twisting. I just have to help it. Go ahead. I just have to help it a little bit. I can feel the twist in my hand, but I'm just helping it to get twisted all the way. No, it's all it's good. Yeah. Yeah. It's twisted. So this is where we joined the one coming around here, and then he twisted it and zip tied it and then took it down to the bottom.
Okay, so we twisted it. We're gonna leave it slack up here a little bit, and then again we just attached it with zip ties. That way, we did leave it high above the ground, that way we can see it with some flags. But we're going to leave enough slack in there. We're going to come to the top of this T-post so that we can actually bury it at some point. We'll bury it all the way up to there. That way we don't have to worry about tripping over it. But for now, we're going to, for testing purposes, we're going to attach it to the top of this T-post, then down, and we're going to bury it underneath our roadway right here and into the house. So using the drill, you can overturn the wire and make it too tight. So I'm going to take it over this wire right here, and they say that if you run this wire parallel with other electrical things, you can induce a current in here, which I know is true. So I'm going to go crossing this almost at a 90-degree angle right here. You got it? Okay, keep going. Okay, hold that. All right, keep going. What are you guys doing? Oh, the Rat Pack. That's what I'm gonna start calling you guys, the Rat Pack. Hey, what's going on here? What is going on? So, no, we're not going outside, you guys. Not today. It's muddy as heck. I know, they're going stir crazy because they're inside. Here we go. Here we go. You guys saw us put the perimeter wire up. We have a surge protector. We have the power supply, and we have the radio signal power pack. And then we have the collar. This takes a 9-volt battery, and this actually goes on the dog. Now, the reason why I went ahead and left all of this extra wire, just in case we want to do something different and take it to a different place. So here's a key component of why we're doing this and why we're installing this where we are. We are off grid, and so I don't want to leave this power wire on all the time 24/7. Those of you that are on grid can totally do so, because that little power supply only draws some milliamps. It doesn't draw a whole lot of power. So I could theoretically leave it on and probably not have a lot of draw, but with all the other things that we're going to have with Starlink, our refrigerator, there's a few electric things that we're going to be leaving on all the time. I wanted the option to be able to unplug this thing and only plug it in when we want to. We want to plug it in before we go outside. It's muddy. It's mud season right now in Idaho, and we want to make sure to plug this thing in before we let the dogs outside. So that's an option for you guys. If you want to be able to plug this thing in, turn the power on before you let your animal out, you can do so. You have to just plan to bring the wire inside the house and have an ability to switch the power on, either by unplugging the power supply or having it on a switched outlet. Okay, so that's why we're doing it this way. It makes it really convenient when the weather's really nasty, that you can plug the thing in and you have your perimeter actually active while the weather is actually bad. So we're going to go ahead and plug it in right now and test it out. Hey guys, here's a quick little note for you. When we were talking about how many twists to put in the wire, it says right here to do 10 twists per foot. So I would say that this wire has got plenty of twists in it. It's definitely got 10 twists per foot in it. These instructions are actually really amazing. Now they want you to connect the power supply to the surge protector, and then you run the actual boundary loop to these wires, and then you run 2 wires from here to the actual radio controller. And it says US and Canadian models only. For testing purposes, we're going to bypass this step right now because it's extra wire work that I don't want to do at the moment. But you can see right now that I plugged the power in and that the loop is active. I have power and the loop is good. If it was flashing, that would mean I'd have a break in the loop and it wasn't active. Now, when I first plugged this in, you hear that? The loop went off and you hear a beeping. Now that's for the actual length of the loop on the side right here. You have 3 settings. You have an A, a B, and a C. I'm going to switch it to B, and that's what most people have it set on is the B. C is for super long loops, and I'm going to show you those instructions right here. It says right here, for transmitter setup, run the boundary wire through a window, under a door, through a crawl space vent, or any other appropriate available access, and you can also drill a hole through your wall. There, it says right there the amount of wire for the settings. You're going to apply power to it, and you're going to set the boundary width control on the side to A, B, or C based on the total length of the boundary wire used. Setting B is for most properties. There's the table. Up to 1,300 feet, setting B. 1,300 to 2,400 feet is setting C, and greater than 2,400 feet is setting A. So we have ours set on B because we used 2 full rolls, and then we used maybe about 100 feet of the 3rd roll, maybe 200 feet. So we're definitely on setting B. So we are set up. Now the boundary width control is right here. I'm going to set it to a 5, and now we're going to go test it. We're going to take about this collar, and it comes with 2 long probes. They give you a 9-volt battery. They give you 2 shorter probes for a shorter hair dog, and then they give you the test light. So this is going to light up. I'm going to put this on these 2 connectors right here, and I'm going to use that to test and see without putting it on the animal. To do this, you're going to need a fine tip Phillips screwdriver. This fatter tip one wouldn't fit these screws. Okay, so on this tool right here, there is a little flat edge. There's a little flat edge right here, and you're going to use this to undo the static button control cover. You're going to loosen it. It's got threads on it. You take it off. Now I'm going to push this and hold it down so it lights up. I let it go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is set at level 5, which is the strongest setting, and that's what I want for these dogs, is it needs to be set at the strongest level. A level 1 says in the instructions that it's basically no static correction, it's just a tone plus vibration. 2 flashes is a low correction, medium, so on and so on. I'm going to put this back on. I'm going to snug it down. I'm not going to over tighten. And now I'm ready for my test. It also gives you like little wrenches in here that are built in so that you can take off and change the probes that are on here and change them to a shorter one. But this has 2 metal tabs in the middle right here. You can see those. I'm going to put those coinciding with these. I'm going to walk outside. I'm going to hold it like this. I'm going to mate these metal tabs right here with the metal probes on the collar, and I'm going to hold it down with my thumb, and this is going to light up when I get close to the fence. So let's go try it out. Okay, so we got this little tester on here. Again, I'm going to put those 2 metal tabs right on the actual probes. This is already set to 5. I'm going to put this on here. I'm going to hold it with my thumb, and when I get within, we have the perimeter strength set to medium. We have it set to about a 5. It's a 1 to 10, and that should be about a 6-foot barrier. So this thing should light up with a tone and a light at about 6 feet when I get close to the wire. Let's go check it out.
I saw a light.
There you go. There's the light. So we are within about 5 feet, maybe 6 feet. I'm gonna get a little closer because that's the warning zone. Do you hear the chirping? Now the light is flashing faster. That means it's going to be zapping or doing a static correction. And then it goes off. Did you guys see that? So let's back away. Okay, now we're about 10 feet away. Now let's get close again. When we get to the warning zone, the light's going to flash. When we get within the static correction zone, which is even closer, you're going to hear the audible chirping. It's very, very quiet, and it's going to flash a lot faster, which means it's actually doing static control. Okay, here we go.
We're about 5.
There you go. There's the warning. That's the warning zone. Now as we're getting closer, can you guys hear the chirping? And as we get closer, it's going to flash faster. That means it's static control. That means it is doing static correction on the dog. And then as we stay, if the animal stays in the static zone too long, it stops. That way it doesn't continue correcting the dog, zapping the dog.
And we're about
It's
4
about
feet.
4 feet.
Yeah.
It's going to continue to give the dog a little zap when he's within the correction zone. If he crosses the wire and goes to the other side, and then if he stays in that zone, it'll continue to correct him and zap him for about 30 seconds, and then it stops. So that's why we have to train him on a leash to start understanding what that means. The goal is for them to start hearing the chirp and the audible tone first before they actually start getting a little bit of a correction, a static correction. So that's why there's a correction zone, which is audible tone, and then they get closer to the wire, like right now. It's actually working all the way up here, and you can hear it. As I get closer, it's faster, which means that it's actually doing a static correction. So now we know that the perimeter wire is working. We're gonna go test it where we buried it under the road. Okay, here we go. We're gonna try it underneath the road. We have that buried about 4 to 5 inches underneath the road. It's actually in a conduit. I'm gonna try it because there's water on there and there's mud. So does it work through water and conduit? Look at that. It's flashing. Yep, it's working. That's pretty cool. So we have our boundary set. It's going underneath the road, and everywhere that we're going to be driving either a vehicle or our side-by-side across the property, we have it buried. We're also going to be burying it in other places where we're going to have walkways and pathways. Okay guys, thanks for watching. I hope that wasn't too long of a video for you guys, but I covered all the major points and that there was enough instructional detail in there to really help you guys make a decision about whether this kit is going to be the right kit for you in order for you to train your dogs and train them on a perimeter. The white flags serve as a visual reminder for not only you, so you know where the wire's at, especially if you bury it all the way around, but it's also for your animals as well. We're going to spare you the live test because nobody likes to see our beloved doggies squirming, and they definitely do not like the shock collar. The instructions do say to start on the lowest setting and then work your way up. And we did do that because these dogs are very, very stubborn. We ended up on a 5 to make sure they got the point, but they learned very, very quickly. So guys, thank you for watching. If you like the content, please subscribe. It helps us bring more content to you guys. And hit that thumbs up. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, guys.